As chairman, I'm going to take the liberty to rearrange the agenda. We have some people from Melrose that have a historical marker wording for the board to approve. And if you'd like to come up, please, to the podium where the microphone is.
I'd like one extra.
I would too, please.
Yes, ma'am.
You can read Terry's to him.
Does it have an audio version? With buckles.
Thank you so much. You do. I'm gonna pass them around. Who wants one? Anybody?
Sure.
Kathy wanted one.
Oh, yeah, I've got one. Certainly.
I thought they were gonna name it the Floyd and Edgar
told you
Edgar
about
Johnson
that.
Mildred Worley Schoolhouse.
My name is Norma Carter.
Ma'am, could you please go to the microphone?
stand right there.
Yes,
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 everybody can hear you
I'm
then.
usually loud enough. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. My name is Norma Carter, Norma Ford Carter from Melrose. And with me today I have Doris Ford Bratcher, Whitener, Harry and Jerry Jackson, Rita Leninfa, Bobby Ruth Powell, and my husband Roland Carter, and Harry Whitener. And we're representing Melrose School Alumni Association. When we went to school there, with all of us, when we went to school there, it was a high school, and of course no longer a high school, but we still have our high school reunions in Melrose, and we have one every year for anybody that went to Melrose High School can come to our reunion. So maybe we'll see some of you there someday. We have it the third Saturday in March at Eliam Baptist Church, and we have about 200 that are still attending every year.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
I've been fortunate enough to attend. I went when Edgar or when Floyd was still alive, and very nice.
Can I ask an unrelated question?
Sure.
Anybody play on the basketball team there? Because that is the coolest gym that we have in the county.
Me?
Oh,
Coach Jerry.
that is awesome.
was
That is a great gym. Let me tell you. If you love old gyms, that is a beautiful old gym.
It
I can
is.
tell you.
Well,
It is
we
awesome.
never want it to go away.
Yeah, we don't either. We don't either.
Our committee has been working on this wording for a historical marker to be placed at Melrose High School, or excuse me, Melrose School. It's elementary now, but it will include the high school. And I don't know if you want me to read this?
We each have it.
Okay.
Unless you just want to.
You could read it into the record, might be nice
Yeah, please do. Yes,
for
ma'am.
future generations to
Okay.
read. Okay.
Melrose High School historical marker text. And at some point, we will have a dedication day and date on this, but we don't have it yet. Melrose High School began as a wooden building on Wynwood Street, Melrose, Florida, in 1882 to educate children of West Putnam County and surrounding communities. Putnam County constructed a new wooden building with exterior stucco finish in 1927 southeast of State Roads 21 and 26 in Melrose for grades 1 through 12. This is the good one. Wood from the original school was used in the construction of the gymnasium.
That's awesome.
In order for no school days to be missed after fire damaged much of the school during the 1945 Christmas holidays, the Board of Public Instruction devised the following plan. First and second grades went to Melrose Methodist Church. Third and fourth to the Episcopal Church Boy Scout House. Fifth and sixth to the Women's Club House. That's where I went. Grades 7 through 12 were in the Eliam Baptist Church basement. And many of you may not even know there was a basement there, but there was. It took 1.5 years to rebuild using the original plans of the 1927 building. During World War II, a few students left to serve their country. Many teachers taught at this site for 40 years. Many Melrose High School students have gone on to higher education and successful careers in their chosen field. The last senior class of Melrose High School graduated in 1968. Then grades 6 through 12 were moved to Interlachen, Florida. We were limited to 1,235 characters. Our committee started out writing this up back in, I think, May, I think is when it was, and we had 1,700 characters. We had to strike a lot of them out. So we're down to about 1,230 characters at this point.
Add one that I gave
No, I
you.
counted that one. And today, Ms. Crawford has looked this over, and being an English teacher for a long time, we were glad for her input in this because she did want us to add a comma. So I think that was all she added, and so we understand that we all make mistakes, and thank you for
You're quite
doing that for us. We hope that the school board will approve this for us and we can move forward with this historical marker.
I'll entertain a motion for
I
approval.
I
Madam
move
Chair?
we approve, or go ahead, Terry, whatever.
I'll just say, I move we approve the text.
I
For
second.
the marker. Okay, any discussion from the board?
Could I just let you know, my mother graduated from high school there.
And what was her name?
Pauline Tyre at the
Oh, of
time.
course.
T-Y-R-E. In fact, I think it was 1945 when she graduated, so.
Yes. Let me just tell you a little bit more about the school burning. My cousin and my two cousins actually were walking by the school that day during the holidays and they saw the smoke. And they alerted people. And so what was amazing to me is during the Christmas holidays that the Board of Instruction were able to find a place for all of us to go to school in Melrose without losing any days of school. And I think that's unheard of these days. So we really appreciated that.
So we're going to vote. Well, Jane's dad was superintendent, and I'm sure he was instrumental in what.
I'm sure he was.
I heard Floyd and Edgar were the ones that were smoking and burned the building.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past him. Edgar especially.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now let us know when it is. We'll see if we can make it great.
Okay.
Okay, next is the public comment.
You may go.
This is the public comment guide, and while I have two cards here, they're both about an item on the consent agenda. So, I'm gonna move on to the consent agenda. Item, E8 is being pulled.
Not for consideration or for discussion.
We can discuss it, but not for consideration.
Is that what the cards refer to?
Both cards want to speak on that, so, Miss Odom, please first.
Well, wait.
So we gotta pull it. Do we have
pull it
to?
and vote it.
It's been pulled. Do we have to vote to
We have
pull
to
it?
vote,
or-
yes.
I make a motion that we,
Wait, are there any other items we want to pull off
on
the
the,
agenda?
let the
yeah.
chairman handle that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any others?
No, I have no others.
Nikki?
No.
No, ma'am.
I don't either, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item E8.
Madam Chair, I move we accept the consent agenda minus E8.
I second it.
Motion and second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. Okay, now item E8 is up for discussion. Ms. Odom, please.
Good afternoon.
Good
I'm going to pass this out, but I'd also like to read it into the records. We had another insurance committee meeting yesterday, and I guess as quasi-secretary to the insurance committee, they requested I put things in writing and submit to the board for consideration. So I'll read this to you. The Insurance Committee met on November 2nd and made 3 requests for board consideration. Number 1, the committee made a unanimous vote that it be restated to the board their recommendations to proceed with United Healthcare as voted at the October 13th Insurance Committee meeting. The committee feels this is in the best interest of the employees of the district. Number 2, if the board does not go with the Insurance Committee's recommendation on proceeding with United Healthcare, they ask that a singular email be sent out informing all employees the status of health insurance and what the employees may expect moving forward. This request was also met with a unanimous vote. And finally, number 3, at the October 13th meeting of the Insurance Committee, the group voted to eliminate plans A and B from their offerings for the 2016 health plans. At yesterday's Insurance Committee meeting, the Insurance Committee voted unanimously to request the board to act on their request to eliminate Plan A and B.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wanda.
Just before I call the public commenters up, as a matter of clarity for those of you that may not know, Blue Cross objected to the process by which the health insurance was put out for vote. Our attorneys have advised us just to be cautious, save the district money in possible litigation. We have already put this out for bid again. The bid opening is November 13th, and we expect to have an emergency board meeting to act on it on the 16th. Because should we go this way with United Healthcare, we have to give Blue Cross Blue Shield 45 days written notice. So that means nothing is going to change unless United Healthcare's rates are beaten soundly by Blue Cross, in which case everybody wins, because it'll be even better rates. It's just a 2-week stall, and it's to protect the district, because litigation is even if we're not wrong, and even if we win, litigation and court hearings and all that is expensive. And we as a board have an obligation to save taxpayer dollars to use in the classroom as much as possible. And that includes using it for our employees. Jane, did you have something?
Well, I didn't know if you should read this letter from Charlie. Or let Charlie read
Well,
it.
yeah, I was going to have Charlie comment next, and then we'll have the public comments.
Yeah, I think, Madam Chairwoman, you explained well that there is a statutory process for finding a health insurance company for the district. And the process that was followed a few months ago was, in Florida Blue's opinion, not correct. So the district and the board had an option whether to go forward with the decision of United or back up and follow the statutory process that Florida Blue claimed had not been correctly followed. So we endeavored over many, many hours of research, consulting national experts in this field and other legal scholars, that the best course of action for the district was to follow the statute 112.08 for the formal competitive RFP. And that RFP has been posted publicly, and the time period to answer is Friday, November the 13th. And we anticipate that 1 or 2 health insurance companies, maybe more, will respond. And at that point in time, the district and the board can evaluate the proposals and decide, in consultation with members of the district, which plan is most beneficial for the employees. The risk for us to have gone with United was that Florida Blue could have sued. They have not sued yet, but it is a risk. And the process of litigation is not one that is entered into lightly by the board because of the amount of time and the amount of expense that would be visited upon the board and the taxpayer dollars to go toward defending such a lawsuit. Florida Blue had arguments, we had arguments, and who was correct, a judge would ultimately have to decide. But to avoid that potential of litigation, ourselves, other national experts, other legal scholars came to the conclusion that it was best to put the bid out again in the proper format so that we could hope to avoid that litigation. Having said that, I do not believe that Florida Blue was harmed in this process. I believe that Florida Blue sat on its hands, and one of its representatives was present at multiple meetings. Florida Blue had a representative that communicated regularly with the insurance broker for the district and did not give an objection to anything along the way until the 11th hour, when it was obvious to them that United was the one to be selected. So the board is not here to concede that anything has been done wrong. All that we are saying is that there is a risk that Florida Blue would have taken us to court and tried to prove that we do something wrong. Again, we have and had defenses. We're trying to eliminate any potential problems by going through this new formal RFP process that will take 10 days to eliminate that arrow in the quiver that Florida Blue may or may not have currently. So with that said, it is our legal opinion that we are on the right track and that any harm that Blue Cross is alleging would be remedied by this new RFP process. So with that, the district is on the right course here, and we will know on the 13th who provides a proposal, and the board will be available at that point in time to make a decision for the best interests of all the employees in the district.
Board members have anything to add before I call on the public?
Madam Chair,
Wonderful
I
explanation.
would just like to thank Charlie and Rocco for working hard on this. And I appreciate Charlie's words, well placed, well spoken. I think the thing that I would simply emphasize is that Florida Blue in no way was harmed. They were given extraordinary access to this process, and I think that's important for the public to know, because our public is a bright public. They are an informed public, and they will understand exactly the nature of Florida Blue's techniques. So thank you to our attorneys, and their team. So thank you.
Any other board members?
No.
Okay.
Could I
I'd
just say
like-
before you go on?
Sure.
We have several members of the insurance committee here today, and I would also like to thank them. They
Absolutely.
did a
Absolutely.
lot of hard work.
A lot of hard
They don't
work,
get
yes.
paid extra for it. It's extra headache for them. They did a tremendous job and have done a tremendous job of looking at all of the information that was brought before them and working together as a team to do the best thing for the employees, and that's coming from the employees, so that's why it's most important. So thank you to the members that are here today.
And I'm sorry for them. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for them,
Right.
because they have put in extra hour, extra time. And
Well, we do very much appreciate their hard work. I would like to refer for a moment to the memorandum that Ms. Odom read from the Insurance Committee. Number one, I think we've already decided that we need to go out on bid again, and
Right.
we have to take the advice of our attorney. We hire them for advice, and I don't believe there will be any harm. Our insurance will revert on January 1st to the lowest bidder, and we may in fact end up
the
with
best
I want,
even.
no, that, I mean, I was gonna say, when we go out to bid, that doesn't necessarily mean the lowest bidder gets, that's not something that's part of
the
our
best
policy.
gets,
Well, the best,
Best,
okay.
that's what she meant.
Sorry, I meant
the best gets chosen.
the
right.
best.
See, Blue Cross would now have access, am I correct, to the rates of United Healthcare?
But they can rebid
Yes.
different rates.
Yeah, okay.
United Healthcare will be bidding again.
I got you.
I've been involved personally with my business in the
can.
bid process, and it's usually the lowest bid. That's why I slipped and said that. But I understand it's not the lowest bid when it comes to services, and this is services. Okay, number 2, can we send out a singular email to all employees letting them know briefly, please?
Yes.
The insurance company has requested it, and I'm sure we have
And maybe
all the
inclu-
employees on a button. And just that we don't expect any radical changes.
Can we attach a copy of Charlie's letter?
Yeah.
Maybe that
Yeah,
would be the
because
best
it's
thing.
here before you today, so it's public record, yes.
That would be great. Okay, thank you. And also, what do we do about eliminating plan? Is that something negotiated? Is that something, they want to eliminate plans A and B from our offering?
No, I think that, Madam Chair, if I may, that's something separate from the carriers. That's something that is,
The insurance
is sort of a statement of desire just for these two plans. So I don't see there being linked to the prior.
The bid
ones.
process,
Right.
yeah.
To the bid process, but how do we go about doing what you're asking us to do? I guess,
If you approve us doing that, it won't be an offering that we have, and it would be, normally we bring
Gotcha.
forth a recommendation.
so it'll come as a recommendation from you, and we'll approve it. Got it, or not.
But we don't have to do it right now.
I don't
No,
think we
not
can
now.
move on it on a
We can't,
memorandum.
we can't
We need
do
it.
it. We need it on the next agenda,
So-
please.
Could I ask a couple of questions for clarification? I'm sure some of the insurance committee members.
Sure, please come to the microphone now.
I'm asking this on their behalf. Will the insurance committee be an involved part of the decision? Will they see these bids that come in and get to make a recommendation to the board? So can they have a meeting first before the
Sure.
board meeting?
Charlie will speak to that.
A lot of this will have to do with time. I'm told from the insurance broker, Danny Page and Travis Riker, that a certain period of time will be required to evaluate the proposals.
By
And
them.
if that happens quickly, then I believe it is their intent, and most likely the board's intent, I'm not sure, we have not discussed this individually, that the insurance committee be involved in evaluating and weighing options and that sort of process. However, if for emergency reasons, there is no time. Because the insurance committee is serving at the pleasure of the board, and it is something that's created locally here, not required by statute, then the board may have to evaluate on their own and make a decision.
Right. I just wanted them to be aware of where this was going, so, okay. And will Danny, will they be present at the opening of the bids?
I have asked them to be. I have not received confirmation that they will be here on the 13th.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Is the opening of the bids public?
Yes.
So committee members could be
Could
there
be
for the
here.
opening of the
Anybody
bids.
can be there.
Yeah, Shannon had sent out.
Is that during school time? So we're missing class?
To the board meeting room?
They missed
To the insurance committee.
Okay.
So these are during school hours, they would be missing class time for that?
Unless we did it
The
at,
bids are due by 3.
They don't come in till 3
Bids will
o'clock.
be open till
oh,
3 o'clock. Right, after 3 o'clock, the bids will be
3:01.
open. And you're gonna bring them here to open them?
No, I'm going to open them, stamp them, approve them, the forms inside them, document the responses, which companies, then bring the packages here. Would take more, hopefully, depending on the responses, maybe 15, 20 minutes.
So perhaps,
the insurance.
we can
Madam Chair,
3:30?
if,
schedule a meeting.
yeah, well, if the,
5 o'clock.
here's, and we need to, board, we probably need to decide this.
Yes.
I am very much for the insurance committee receiving this and looking at this. It is their insurance. They represent, I mean, technically, we sign off on, I get the legal aspect. But in the practical, you represent the folk, and so you have to be involved, in my opinion. You have to be involved. So if you're already scheduled to meet that day, common sense would say, do what you gotta do. Y'all are sitting here, you bring the bids down, and you deal with it right then. That just seems to make some sense.
We need our broker. to
Depends on
look
whether
into
it's
it. That's
advertised to be open at a certain place or not. I don't,
And two, I know that Danny and Travis have requested an opportunity to synthesize what's in the text of the bid, because it could be thousands of pages long, the response to the bid. And there are certain criterion that have to be evaluated, and so that they can give the insurance committee a presentation and help the insurance committee make a decision.
All right.
So I would ask that before the board decides to take any action on the 13th, that we have an opportunity, I don't know if Mr. Page is here or Travis, that we consult with your insurance broker and make sure that that's feasible for them.
Well, I think.
Before the
that's-
13th.
Well, no, the
On the
13th is
Is
when
when the bids
the
I
come
bids
know,
are open.
it's just, that's
When
a
it's bids open.
crunch.
Insurance committee, y'all get that? Y'all understand what's going on? Okay, so then here's a recommendation or a thought. We need to get with Danny, need to see how much time they're gonna have to have. If they've gotta work 2 days in a row, good for them, they get paid. So, and then y'all schedule, a meeting, could be Monday, theoretically, and they have a time to synthesize this. I don't know how much they need, but we need to hear from them now. And so, then if they need till Tuesday,
No, we have to get that letter out Monday.
Monday.
For 45 days.
for 45 days.
okay.
Monday,
So-
the
so
board
Monday we
has to
gotta-
vote, and the letter
And
has
it's
to go
gotta be
out
Monday at what time, Charlie, legally, before?
5, I would
Before-
think.
I would think 5 o'clock, but I do not know for sure without
COB normal, but.
confirming.
But would it be the end of the day, maybe 11:59?
Yeah.
Another thing is that after the proposals come back, Travis and Danny may have questions for the insurance companies who have responded to clarify certain things inside their proposal. And potentially the insurance companies can have a representative available over the weekend. I would hope that they would make that a possibility. But there are a few loose ends that Danny and Travis should weigh in on here
Right.
very quickly to be sure that that's something that they can pull off.
Well, I'm hearing they have until COB or 11:59 on Monday, so that ends the journey. So, I don't know what horse we'll be riding at that point, but we'll get on one of them. So, that's what it sounds like to me. I mean, and I'm with you, Charlie, I get I get the processes and I understand that, I truly do.
The 13th.
But and I believe you're
What
correct
day
in
is that
saying
on?
that we have to have a 45-day
Friday, and then we have
notification. If
Monday to get
we were to
45
go
days.
a different direction,
Emergency meeting
that's on
is
Monday.
when?
Well, we can't move that date, right?
The 16th.
Yes, and the 45-day period, we have been presented with some documentation. I'm not 100% sure yet, without doing some additional research on the documents that were just handed me today, that the 45-day is a set in stone time period. I literally minutes ago I was given this documentation with this 45 days, so I need to review that, see how that conforms with other documents and statutes, and make sure that that exists. Nevertheless, a decision has to be made very quickly, and we will ask and put Danny and Travis on notice that they're going to have to do whatever they have to do to make this work as soon as possible.
So can the board count on you then to contact our broker and make him understand after you've decided whether or not the 45-day, et cetera, and then notify the board what's going on? Okay.
And could we say that
Have no resolve.
at the opening of the bids, that if insurance committee members want to be here, they certainly can be here, because it'll be in the afternoon after 3 o'clock. And I would suggest that we change the insurance committee meeting to Monday, the 16th.
Right.
After Danny Page and Travis Riker have had time to look at it and the bids. I'm only expecting 2. I don't expect it to be really difficult, but we can meet Monday morning, the board can meet
Yes.
that afternoon and approve, and we can move forward prior to midnight.
Absolutely. It sounds great. Now, we have 2 people that have filled out cards to speak on this subject. Number 1 was Tony Poprosky. That's Tony.
Big Tony.
2 little babies.
Bring those cute babies.
Oh, babies.
Goodness, she looks like her mama.
Tony Peprowski, 101 Oak Tree Lane in Palatka. I just wanted to come here. I came here 10 months ago whenever all this discussion about the insurance was coming down, and there wasn't going to be the status quo of the previous provider possibly, needing to come up with some new bids, maybe sharpen their pencil a little bit. And I want to applaud, first of all, the insurance committee that took the time to make sure that we went with the right person to go with the right amount, the right bids and the right money, and because these children that are the children of the employees of the Putnam County School District are the ones that are affected by high insurance costs. Under the last insurance that we had, there's no way that we would be able to afford individual policies or family policies or employee plus child, so we had to do something different. We have individual policies on both of our children that are right now at $262 per child a month. $262 on a school board insurance, on school board, salary. Our insurance will go up after the first of the year to $325 a month per child. So this is very, very, very important. I've seen the numbers from United Healthcare, and I want those numbers. We will be able to afford school board insurance, and that's how you're going to get the best and the brightest to come to Putnam County to teach, is through good benefits. I also applaud Ms. Criswell. I'm glad you didn't go with the status quo. Glad you did not go with the status quo of who to pick for insurance. You did what was right by the employees of the Putnam County School District, and you set a precedent for all future superintendents that come after you to not go, and I've even spoken with Mr. Wright about this. This needs to be a bid process every 2 or 3 years.
That's right.
To keep everybody's pencil sharpened and everybody honest.
That's right.
So I applaud everybody, and thank you very much from the bottom of our heart, from employees, to try to do the best that you can for the employees themselves. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That was very nice of you to stick around.
The baby was
Tony and his wife both work for the school system and have not been able to afford the family plan previously. So I know that the information they've gotten from the insurance committee has allowed them to feel better about what's going to happen because they actually can afford the family plan, and insurance should be a benefit. We don't have many benefits for our employees. I guess insurance is the only one, but if you can't afford it, it's certainly not a benefit. So we're looking forward to moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Lenora Earls?
notes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mention you're limited to 3 minutes, and there's a thing there that I'm going to try and use. Okay.
I understand. All right, my name is Lenore Earls. I live in Interlochen, Florida, and I'm the chairperson of the Employee Insurance Committee. And thank you for that follow-up, because I'm going to follow it up with you would not imagine how many phone calls that I've received since yesterday about what am I going to do about my arthritis injections? What am I going to do? What am I going to have to get individual coverage? Because they see, you know, there's attorneys involved, and, you know, no offense to you, but when there's attorneys involved, we get the shaft. And that's the message that I'm getting from the employees. So I really appreciate, thanks. I'm not working right now. So. But, you know, that's the message I'm getting feedback from. And I appreciate Terry and I appreciate Nikki coming to the meetings, as well as Ms. Criswell, because, you know, we have poured over this stuff. Some of us have really, you know, encouraged others to give us feedback so we can make informed decisions. And we did go with, you know, not only best rate, but best benefits. You know, it makes a big difference. And so, you know, the group that's here, you know, are impassioned enough. We've spent our time, and like I said, we don't get a stipend for it. We're here because we're supporting our peeps. And, you know, I just want y'all to understand that we want to be involved. We're not, you know, we're going to be the little bulldog, you know, on the end of your tail, dragging you around. Come on now, let us be involved in this, because, you know, we're the ones that are standing there in front of our peeps at our locations and saying, hey, you know, this is the best we could. No, it's not perfect, or whatever the situation is. But I just really appreciate y'all thinking that, you know, and allowing us to be involved in that process, because that there's a lot of credibility to be said of, you know, if at a committee, kids people that are involved in a committee, that we're just doing it for the love of our coworkers. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to say. I want to say, make sure that we stay involved, not because we're, want to be in any more business, but we want to be able, because we're the ones that are going to be helping people. And like I've told Mr. Criswell yesterday, I don't mind sitting there and helping people enroll it till the cows come home, as long as somebody helps with my lesson plans. So, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And I believe it's unanimous with the board that we want you involved very much, and we appreciate your service thus far.
Well, do we need to decide whether it's going to be a formal vote? Because I know when the insurance committee does do that, they have a formal vote. So are we just saying come if you can, or it's going to be a formal insurance committee voting meeting? 'Cause that's a little different. And then also public notice needs to be done, Sharon, and I think we have to record that meeting too. I just don't want to miss
Well, I
any
think
steps.
for the 13th, since the bids will be open, I would think to give Danny Page and Travis Riker at least the weekend to look at it in case there are any concerns. And then on Monday, if we have an insurance committee meeting, say at 1 o'clock, where they can present everything, and we'll check with them to make sure that that's a suitable time, and then have the board meet as an emergency meeting at 3:30 to,
You'll make us
and
aware.
I
again,
don't know that
we-
an hour and a half will be
'Cause
enough
I'd like to be there.
time.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'm
that's the
worried
other
it
thing.
depends
that.
on the
What about 9
number.
a.m.?
Why couldn't we just,
It really depends on the number of bids
Yep.
we get. The letters that went out before, we only got 2. I'm only expecting 2. I don't think things are going to change a whole lot. I don't think it's going to be very difficult. But of course, we won't know until the bids get here and are opened on the 13th. I think a lot can be determined at that time.
so we would ask the insurance committee to meet on Monday, and then we would meet after that. But sometimes, I mean, I feel like instead of the brokers making the presentation twice, why wouldn't the board members just come to that?
Why don't we just have
Is that
a
possible?
workshop and then an emergency meeting?
Yeah, a
With the
workshop.
insurance committee and the brokers, so that everybody can hear what they have to say. And then, yep, and then a formal meeting so we can approve. But you guys are gonna,
Can they take action? I know we cannot take action
Not
in
in a
that
workshop.
meeting.
not a
So
workshop.
if we call it a workshop, they wouldn't take action.
There are a few options. One is that that Danny could do a presentation to the insurance committee like around 1 o'clock. And the insurance committee could decide on what their recommendation, I'm sorry.
It's really sweet. So do you like reading?
And the insurance committee can make a recommendation. We could have an emergency board meeting around 3:30.
But then we don't hear Danny's
And
presentation.
then you don't hear the presentation. Another option is to have a board meeting where Danny presents, where members of the insurance committee are in attendance. We pause the board meeting, take a break. The insurance committee can go out, they can meet, they can decide what their recommendation will be. They will come back, report to the board what their recommon is.
That's a
The
great
board will
idea.
know what
Yeah.
this thought is.
That's a great idea.
Good idea.
And we can all go to Beefs while they're meeting. Kidding, that was a joke. Please don't pull it.
That's what Charlie's gonna find out. I mentioned that earlier.
Right.
He's gonna look at that. He doesn't know if it's by COB or by the end of the
Midnight.
technical day.
And then the other thing
11:59.
too is that Danny and Travis may need to get some final decisions from the health insurers who have responded that Monday morning. They might need corporate permission for different items that they were not able to get over the weekend. So they will use Monday morning to try to make those final phone calls before the presentation that day. But yes, if we need to move it forward a little bit, then I think that's a good idea.
I think it's in the attorney's hands for now, and we understand, I think he understands, and we all understand the need for expediting this as quickly as possible, and I think we're all headed in the right direction.
Madam Chair, just one question. Charlie, you're gonna check on the 45-day thing? Would that be, if it's true, would that be just there for the Blues policy? or that wouldn't be some sort of state insurance thing, would it?
I'm not aware that it is a requirement by statute, or if it is only something that is in contract, but documents I've seen are from decades ago. So we have to follow the paper trail to see where things are. So we'll try to get an answer to you on that as quickly as possible.
I'm just saying, because if we get our back against the wall, is there any wiggle room? I guess that's from time, day-wise, is it 45 days?
We'll see. We'll
Okay.
He'll advise.
Okay.
Well, you got somebody else to talk or something?
No, we can move on. We are out of regular session into emergency session. And if I can find my emergency items, which I had handy. Okay. We have 2 emergency items. Oh, I'm sorry.
Consent agenda.
Mr. Buckles made me do it. He was like
He's had years of practice.
urging me on. It's
I
his
taught you
fault.
how to hit softball. You better hush.
I'm going to allow you to come up because I told you before to just wait till Mr.
I just wanted to reiterate on something that y'all already talked about, which was the Plan A and B. The reason that we had Ms. Odom come forward to ask about the A and the B plan is because, again, I talk about timelines. We want to give those employees that are on A and B enough opportunity to be able to say, okay, in 45 days, I've got to start on C or D. And that was given an advisement to the bids that we're getting are including that Plan A and Plan B, which we have a very few amount of employees on. So that's why we are trying to get y'all to, so we can notify employees because, then they get, then they have no notice whatsoever.
Well, we're going to, assuming things work out the way we're planning, we're going to have the emergency meeting on Monday, the 16th. We have a reorganizational meeting and a regularly scheduled board meeting on the 17th, the next day. So assuming we get this done on Monday and the 45 days notice goes out, we can approve then at Tuesday's regular meeting, getting rid of A and D on the recommendation of the, and then, so you've got 44 days notice for the employees.
It had been on the October board meeting, and it was tabled, and that part, that's why we
Right.
said that.
Mark, is that a negotiated item? That's one thing we would have to address in his executive session or not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. We're in emergency session. First item is 2015-2016 personnel allocation, change number 8.3, 8.4.
Madam Chair, so moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. The next item is expulsion committee recommendation, justification, explanation, time sensitive.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
so moved?
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor to accept the expulsion committee's recommendation. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. We're back in regular session. And if I can find my agenda, there it is, sorry. Discussion, no old business, new business. We have taken care of item 1 at the beginning of the meeting, the Melrose marker. And now we have discussion and input on attorney contract, the need for full-time attorney. I'm the one that requested this be put on the agenda, and the first thing I want to say is I have no problem with the service we're getting. I love Charlie and Rocco very much. But you're not supposed to say that, something good and then but. However, in speaking with the superintendent and seeing the way things are going and understanding how it used to be with our past attorneys, Joe Pickens and Jim Padgett, I felt like the district needed their own attorney. And I spoke to the superintendent, and who wouldn't want that? Also, I noticed that our board attorney's contract was up October 1st, so that's a moot point because I think there's 45 days notice or 60 days notice, something similar if we're not going to renew. However, when Mr. Douglas called me about this because I'm the one who wanted to put it on the agenda. We feel like if the board is willing for them to make a proposal, they can provide a staff member, perhaps in the beginning 2 days a week or 3 days, the same 2 days every week or the same 3 days, just to feel it out. Do we need somebody here 3 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever? And it also gives his firm the opportunity to gradually get in it. So, I don't believe we're acting on this. Nope, it's just discussion and input. That's what I have to say. If anybody else, do you think it's a good idea or bad idea? I really do believe that there needs to be somebody here for staff. We have so much going on, and things are only getting worse. They're only getting more complicated. They're only getting more litigious. Is that the word? Right.
Well, who would have ever thought Holland and Knight or Blue Cross would have done what they did? I mean, it just never ceases to amaze me, some of the things that occur, but.
Well, the courts will accept a lawsuit from anybody
I
for
understand.
it.
They're bullies.
But then I look at,
Anti-bullying week. They need that.
I heard, I do not know the exact amount of what it's cost in overtime or.
We're gonna
additional
get
work.
that, yeah, how
And
much.
we'll look
yeah.
at that at some point. Am I satisfied with Charlie and Rocco? Yes, they're wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, I like Dallas the best. She's not here.
That's why
But-
you like her. She doesn't show
Yes,
up.
but anyway, we're gonna have to do like Kathy and make a decision on whether we stick with them and try to find a way to.
Well, we have to stick with them for until October
It's an
1st of
automatic-
next year.
it's an
That has
automatic renewal.
automatically
I understand
But
that.
we can work on, I mean, if
Not
both
stick with
parties
them.
are agreeable, we can work on amending that to include staff here to help the superintendent and her staff. And again, perhaps it'll end up 5 days a week, but we can start, the firm and the district, feeling it out.
Right.
With 2 or 3 days a week.
And
see
Douglas
what-
and Headstrom is very agreeable
Yes.
with this, so,
Yes.
you know,
There
it
should be
can
no
only
problem.
help.
It can only help everybody, I think.
Madam Chair, I would just say this, having gone through what we just went through, at some point, we will do an RFP, all right? All right, just so we know, it will be officially done. It will be put out to the other law firms in this county, and it will be an open bid process, okay? I don't
We
think
bid
anybody
every year
will.
for an attorney?
Yeah,
No,
we
we have a
will.
renewable
That will be my
contract.
recommendation to this board.
Oh, please.
I'm just telling you.
Interestingly,
have to. We don't
after all
have
the
to.
research.
No, we don't.
We don't have to.
For
We
group
don't-
health
we don't
insurance,
have
you
to.
have to have an
Have to.
RP for.
We don't
all
have
those types
to,
of
but-
services you don't, but you can choose.
If we don't have to, we're not going to.
We don't have to.
You can tell Ms.
Well, I
Crawford
will
that.
bring a recommendation that we will, and so y'all can vote that down if you want to, but
Yes,
I
we
will
can.
bring an RFP recommendation.
Statutorily,
I'll
they
just
are
say,
exempt.
we're very happy to serve. That is what our goal is for the board and the district. And if we can serve better by having someone here a couple days a week or progress forward into 4 or 5 days a week, we'll certainly accommodate that. We can both see how that's working, and if we have to come back and look at the contract and see if it's economically feasible. But we just want to continue doing a good job for the board and the district, and
we got room for
we appreciate the opportunity to serve. And if there are any concerns or questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I think we've done well communicating thus far, and we'll serve the district better if we communicate like that in the future.
Well, I would request that your firm
Start 2 days
send
a
Mr. Wright
Just save
the
your questions
statute,
and stuff.
seriously,
Those
because
2
I
days.
researched about the insurance.
No, I get
and
it. We don't have to, no.
specifically exempt.
No, I get that. There's no question on that. But I'm talking about equitable and fairness within our community, which matters. I think an RFP is just a good business, it's business sense. It's not
Did
statute.
you ever feel like that before when we were looking for an attorney?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. It has always been a good business practice to have competition. That's the free market. The free market works best when there's people who compete. Everyone knows that. And so this isn't personal. I love Charlie.
This isn't
Talk
the
to
free
Charlie a lot.
market, this is a school system.
Well, the free market.
It's totally different.
Well,
Too much.
yes, but you can use free market principles when
we don't.
Yes, we
But we have to
do. We require when we go put stuff out for RFP, we require 3 bids.
That's
We-
statutory.
But it's also a free market principle. That is a free market. Sure, it is, Kathy. You know it is. And
We'll
I
cross
mean,
that bridge when we get to it. Come
It's
on,
of
let's
course a
go.
free market principle. So I mean,
Something's to be said for experience, getting feet wet, having been here for a year.
and I'm not against that. I'm not against that. and do not read this that any way that I'm against that process. I'm not at all. I'm saying everyone wins when more people are at the table competing. We're going through this with the insurance right now. When more people compete, you win. It's the same way with every service that we have in this district. The more people compete, the more we win. That is just free market principles. We may not have to, but it's rational and it's common sense. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, we knew going in
why
that
you
there'd
like
be some,
political races.
there'd be some growing pains, and I think Charlie's and Rocco have risen to the occasion and done some
That's
things.
not the question.
But that's not exactly.
the question.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Terry there. It, you know,
that is not
it
the
doesn't
issue at
hurt to
all.
be competitive, but let's give Charlie and the firm a chance to show what they can do.
Well, we have that, right? We have another year
Yeah.
because so I
My
have no
question, I
prob-
guess, Terry, is that did this just pop out of the blue because you didn't request this every year with Mr. Badgett, did you?
Never,
No. That's
Not
good
every
point.
year.
never,
No.
I'm just wondering.
never.
As far as the attorney, I would just ask, as far as if we did some type of survey, Ms. Criswell, or for the department heads, how would they best be served? I mean, they're the ones that use Rocco and Charlie. Do they want them in an office that they save their questions for Monday and Wednesday, 1 to 3, for Rocco to sit in an office here? Or, I mean, do they call him and know cell phone numbers and everything else and bug him? Because Mr. Weaver, he needs to know, he can't wait till Monday and Wednesday. I just want to best utilize their time, because they may be sitting there twiddling their thumbs and have nothing to do that day because there's nothing on the agenda that we have needs. So I mean, I feel like we definitely need to know that our district principals, administrators can reach out at any point to either the law
Right, if it's
firm.
if it's
Yeah,
a,
I do
mean,
believe that
I
I
think
have
they're
every
doing
department
that.
head's cell phone number, and every department head has my cell phone number and Rocco's cell phone number. So we are a phone call away, literally.
Yeah.
But I understand the superintendent's concern and Chairwoman Jorgensen's concern that, you know, having someone in the flesh, in person, may help with some of that
We have
communication.
things that happen that we don't expect. We had, something that arrived at Palatka High School, and it was in the form of, it looked like it came from an attorney, but it was different and it was weird. And we needed somebody right
Right.
then to
Right.
look at it and tell us, are we responsible to get this information? Are we supposed to? I mean,
Right.
there are little things that happen on a daily basis
Right.
that we're not expecting. We
student's
don't know how
records
to
and-
predict
Yeah.
on a daily basis, and certainly with personnel issues that come up, that things that you don't expect at all, and then it's like, oh my goodness, how should we proceed for the district? So those are things that happen quite often, and they've increased over the years. I expect they're going to increase more. So certainly, if Douglas and Hedstrom are able to provide us with someone, we would love to try that for a while.
I
mean,
think
just
not-
because
absolutely.
it would just serve us well, I think,
Poor
and
Rocco.
it would be a working together so that we could figure
gonna
out
be
what we
Rocco?
really need.
I don't know.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, when Mr. Paget was here, he was never at a loss for something to do every
Right.
day. And he was very surprised because he thought he would be. Oh, no. Oh, no. The department
always
heads kept him
something.
very busy with issues. Everything's legal anymore, even in a school district, and everything we do comes right back to you. And we have to make sure that we don't do something in the course of the daily running of the school district that causes some kind of a lawsuit or damage to the board. And certainly that's what they do. But to have somebody give us immediate response is really a good thing for us.
And I understand that we have cell phone numbers for these two gentlemen, but they have a firm. We're not their only client. So, seriously, so you can't
They're large.
expect to get them.
I'd just call the firm if I needed them.
Right, well, if we had a contact person that was in the building, even if they were here 3 days a week, and on the 5th day or the 4th day, we've got a contact person other than you two if we need them.
We're willing to work with the administration and
Yep.
figure out a framework that can work for all parties.
And can't we just amend your contract, being that your contract, I'm talking legally now, your contract has been reinstated because we didn't give you any notice. So as of October 1st, it's good till September 30th. Isn't there a way for the board to agree to amend your current contract contract without going out on bid.
Of course you can. You can
Right.
amend any contract if two parties agree.
Exactly, so that's what we should be working on then, you and the superintendent, and see what we can come up with, please, for the board to approve an amended contract at some point. Okay, this is my last meeting as chair, so I'm trying to get in as much as I can. Oh, yes, I've been counting down.
Oh, we get David next, right? Is that how it goes?
Well, we have to nominate.
I thought he was.
Not automatically.
Not automatic.
No, it's not automatic.
We go
It's
through a
been the,
reorg and
it's
we
been
nominate.
it's been the practice of this board sometimes to do that, and
right.
other times it's not.
Yeah, I was,
Much as you.
Yeah,
and
that's
Nikki-
what
much
I'm
as you and
gonna
Nikki don't
nominate.
like
My
me.
chair
I was
is
part
not
of the
next to
other
him
time.
next time. That's all I can. Nobody wants to sit next to him. You're gonna have to
Thank
give him
you.
your seat. Nikki will sit.
Jane will sit with
I like
I'm
it. It's
gonna
close to
move
the
along.
bathroom.
It's been a wonderful meeting. I missed old business, and I apologize. It's about the Putnam Educational Foundation, and I said meetings ago, because this is so important, I wanted it on old business discussion every meeting until it's done. So I'd like to know what the status is, if anybody knows.
I would like to say I did speak with Rocco today about it. He has a PowerPoint ready for us, so maybe at the next meeting, we can either put it on the agenda. I think, just from when I went to the conference and he went to the conference, we both gained a lot of knowledge trying to move forward. So come on up if you want to give a quick, it's only like a 20-minute presentation, but I feel like we have been educated. We're ready to,
You're gonna do
Wonderful.
20 minutes now?
Wonderful.
yeah.
So since we last met, I actually reached out again to Donna Luders, who is the executive director of the St. John's Education Foundation, now known as Inc., which is investing in kids. I sat in for one of their board meetings to observe that. And based upon a lot of my research and speaking with other people, I put a PowerPoint together so I can present it to the board in terms of the options. We have some documentation that we can put together as a basic form, so whatever route we want to go, we can move pretty quickly.
You're not ready for that now.
I don't have the PowerPoint with me right now, but next time I definitely can have it ready.
Yes, if we can put that in, under old business again, but it'll be a presentation. And I'd like to, perhaps, we be ready for a vote?
I think so.
Okay, so let's say discussion, input, and action on Putnam County Educational Foundation, please. I'd like to see that happen. That'll be great. Thank you very much, Rocco, and Nikki, for all your work on this.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair, I did receive a text from Danny Page, and I said, "Are you open? Does that give you enough time on Monday, the 16th?" And he said yes. He has to talk to Travis, but he definitely could be here to evaluate and do what he needs to do. So
Good. Sounds great.
I know
And
that they're
Charlie, you'll
waiting. So
finish that up as we discuss. Well, you'll contact Annie and set up times and all that, like we discussed. Okay. We are up to reports. Board member, Mr. Wright.
all is well, except for last night. I will not go into my lament and moaning and crying.
Going to.
Jane's going to. Jane and I experienced something that was very disheartening, and I've been involved in athletics my whole life, and I'll just say Palaca High did a great job. Coach Humphries did a great job, and it was sad our boys didn't win. It was a difficult night. Outside of that, things are great. Going to a lot of school events, out in the schools, and all is well.
Thank you. Jane, why don't you go next?
I've been
please?
kind of busy. I had the opportunity to attend the Whitney on the River reception at the River, what's that place called? St. John's?
River Center, St.
River
John's
Center,
River
yeah.
Center.
That's hard to remember.
It was a fundraiser for the Whitney Lab STEM project, and it is just awesome. And it's such a wonderful thing for our students, third, fourth, and fifth graders, and all they'll be able to do to offer them for science education. I also went to the Teacher of the Year breakfast, and I'm just so encouraged by, I got to spend time with all of our teachers and all of our support persons of the year, and we just have a lot of fabulous people working for us in this county day in and day out. And there's going to be some stiff competition for those two positions. Our prayer breakfasts are coming to a close. Friday is the last one, and that is because We got robbed last night at the football game. It was a three-way shootout among Palatka High School, Baker County High, and Pedro Menendez. And the draw had us playing Baker County High School in the first quarter.
Yeah, it's 1 quarter.
Yeah, 1 quarter. And, it's easy to say the officiating's bad, but it really was. We had a student who was, what I think, horse-collared, is that the right term, Terry?
Yeah, right.
Was sent to the hospital, had a concussion, neck injury, and sent to the hospital in an ambulance right in front of the referee, and he didn't call it. That's not why we lost, but there were some bad calls. Our boys played their hearts out. Our coaches were wonderful. They acted with class and dignity, and they acted a lot better than I did because I was a little upset.
Yes, you were.
But anyway, oh, and by the way, they almost didn't let me in because I didn't have a pink pass. I still had my blue pass. But anyway, I got in. I'm looking forward to this Thursday. I'm going to be judging a speaking contest for the FFA. I believe it's being held here in our boardroom, and I'm very excited about that.
Time is that?
Oh, it's in the morning. Okay. 9, I think. 9.
Thursday. Okay.
Yes. Another thing that I'm very involved in is Putnam Project Lighthouse, and we have another meeting Thursday. And I'm very passionate about all of our schools and employees being trained with the protocol for when a student elopes. And it's got to be done. We had an elopement incident a couple of weeks ago. Everything ended fine. But I think some things maybe could have been handled differently or, better. But this is just something we need to continue to work on to get it to the best point it can be. And other than that, I'm done.
Elope.
That's what it's called when an autistic child runs off.
Oh, not get
No,
I've called it the child. I've always called it that the child ran off school grounds.
it's called elopement when they're autistic.
Well, I thought that was when you get married.
No, he's in pre-K. He's not getting married.
Poor fella, yeah.
That's what Nikki's gonna do. You gonna elope?
Good, thank you.
Go ahead and slap him with it.
I do want to reiterate the hard work of the insurance committee. I think it's up to probably 12 hours, so they know more about insurance care, health care, all the ins and outs, and I appreciate the knowledge that they spent, the time they spent to learn in the best interest of our employees, because really, those people, it's hard decisions and you want what's best for everybody, and it's hard to find that. There's no magic bullet, so thank you for that. Thank you for our attorneys for spending extra time dealing with any just roadblocks, because they did a lot of work, and I appreciate Tammy and Rhonda and Shannon. It was a lot of work, and I feel like we've come a long way. It's a great process. It shows working together, informing people, making it transparent, teaching them everything. They can ask questions. They can say anything and feel comfortable in a committee of 40 people and say, what was, and it's great. And I appreciate that openness that the superintendents allowed, because this was a project that was in the best interest of the employees, period. That's it. That's all it's about. It's the best interest of the employees. And when we can say, we did everything we could to make sure they're going to save money on their health care and make sure they stay healthy, that made me feel really good about the process. So thank you for doing that. The foundation's great too. We're keeping our attorneys busy with that. It's coming along. There's so many opportunities now that that we could think about getting a 501c3, because now I'll see grants and I'll see this and we could apply for this and that. So I appreciate the openness for that to happen, because we have Dignity U, and we have all these great non-educational basically services, but they're needed. I mean, they are so needed. We have so many things. The snack pack's growing like crazy. We've got great support from the community on that, and the Dignity U. So, I mean, when you think about the non-educational things we do for people, the flu shots, the mist. I don't know if any of you kids got their mist, but that was something that we go above and beyond to supply their needs, that nobody realizes how much extra work. That's not part of our job description, our the state mandate or anything, but these are the most important things, because keeping our kids healthy, fed, sheltered, anything we can do to help that process, I see it happening. It makes me happy to see all the collaboration working together. So thanks for all that working together.
Mr. Buckles?
I'll reiterate what Jane and Terry said about Palaca High. I listened to the broadcast last night, and I have to say, I thought Tony was there broadcasting, but it was my son, and I didn't even recognize his voice half the time. But when it got down to the Fisher cut bait time, I was pretty proud of Coach Humphreys for the call he made to go for the win instead of the tie and go on and prolong the agony, because by all accounts we were there, and the referees didn't show up for the game, so it was rough. But Terry, didn't the guy that was horse collared get a broken collarbone?
Somebody said he broke his collarbone. I don't know that.
We hadn't gotten an official word.
Okay, but there was every team you either win or lose, and that's part of playing the game. And that's the good thing about athletics, is it teaches you to pick yourself up,
right.
dust yourself off, and go on and
does.
to the next battle, and that's the way it is. But Charlie, thank you for taking over this insurance matter and advising us. I've seen this stuff before, and it was a technicality, and I thought you'd have a good recommendation. I thought it was very good. So anyway, hopefully we'll clear this up, move on to the next fire, and let Ms. Criswell pour water on it. Okay, that's me.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about football. I hate football.
Sorry.
But it loves you.
I do. I hate it. I think it's barbaric. Anyway, I'm going to tell you that I visited QR Roberts Cambridge program. Now, the reason I did it is because I wanted to make them aware of a fabulous opportunity for so many of our college-bound students. And the site is questbridge.com. And they have a partnership with 36 universities, and I mean like University of Pennsylvania, Vanderbilt, USC, University of Chicago, and they match low-income students that excel academically with these schools who promise full rides. And that means they go for no student loans. This is what they're trying for these kids, so that when they graduate, they're not overloaded with a lot of student loans. So they qualify for a lot of free money. And then if they get a full match to one of the schools, they also get clothing allowance, food allowance, car, plane tickets home for the holidays, everything, so the students don't have to work. And this is a wonderful opportunity. Not many places know about it. And so when I went there, I got to learn a lot more about Questbridge, and wow, all I can tell you is make a visit. It is incredible what's going on there. Our students have every opportunity to succeed academically and go on to universities. And I think that we're going to see, as this program continues, that we're actually going to see economic development, a change, as we send more and more students to college and universities. And stats that I've heard in the past say that 80% of our students that go on need remediation before they can take college credit courses, which means they're paying for courses they're not getting credit for. That's going to, I think, be eliminated with any students that come out of our Cambridge program. You're not going to see, the statistics will be interesting, but I think it'll be the opposite, if anything. I'm just so excited about Cambridge, and I urge the board members, they have a beautiful packet. It's just fabulous. The other thing, Interlochen Elementary School safety leaders are having their first annual yard sale extravaganza. They asked me to mention it. It's Saturday, December 5th from 8 to 2. And they ask you to come sell or shop. If you rent a space, it's only $20. I have some flyers here, and please keep them in mind.
Is
These
that
are-
in your yard?
No. Interlochen Elementary, no. People wouldn't be able to find my yard.
Not good. I know where it is.
Yeah, no. The River Center, that's United Way sponsored the Whitney Center, and United Way, another plug, we just gave them money to help fund that center. So the money United Way collects, again, stays here in Putnam County. And that's all I have. Thank you very much, Mr. Attorney.
Things are busy in the legal department. We've
No joke.
talked about a few of the items today that we've been working very hard on, and burning the midnight oil, late hours trying to get to the correct conclusion for the board and the district on this health insurance matter. Very pleased how things are coming together, and that we'll be able to have the process followed as the statute requires. But in addition to the health insurance and the education foundation that we've spent a lot of time on recently too, just the day-to-day things that we help with labor and employment issues, school safety issues, expulsion, truancy, a lot of different things. And I have to give credit to Rocco and the whole team at Douglas Hesher McCoskey, who really put forth their all to help with the district's needs and the board's needs, and we're looking forward to continuing that representation in the future.
Thank you. Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. We did have a wonderful event at St. John's River Center with our Whitney Lab. They are actually from Marineland. It's a University of Florida project. And the donations that we accepted that evening go to the Whitney Lab so that they will bring their traveling lab to each of our elementary schools. So that was the purpose of that fundraiser. It's really a awesome place at the River Center. If you have not been, really any age students can go there. It's geared for the elementary students, but it is an amazing place. If you haven't been, go over and see it. Upstairs is for rent. So if you want to have an event, you can have up to 100 people, and the view is beautiful. So it's a great thing for downtown Palatka, and Georgia Pacific is responsible for it. They've done a lot of work, and we really appreciate that. And let me also say again, thank you very much to our Employee Insurance Committee. They do a great job. It's a lot of work. And the things that they do, and then pass on to our Director of Purchasing, Sandy Scranton, who has been with us many, many years, and she knows her stuff. So it is wonderful to have her there. When she looks at an RFP, when she looks at something, she knows what we are supposed to do, what we can't do, and she is quick to make corrections, as she did in this case, to get it back to Danny Page and Travis Riker, so that they could make sure they had everything together to give to Mr. Douglas, our attorney, so that we could move forward in this process. So she played a big role in that, and will continue to as we move forward, so we need to thank her as well. And we do have awesome, amazing teachers. The breakfast was wonderful. That competition will be amazing. We also have great administrators all over our county. And recently, Ms. Jorgensen and I were able to attend for Mr. Bowling, our Interlochen High School principal. If you didn't see it in last Wednesday's paper, he was like right at the top. Look at that. Humbled and prized. And he really is very humble. He didn't like this attention at all. But he was chosen by Florida Tax Watch as one of the 6 principals in the state of Florida that are really, truly making a difference. They didn't come to us. We didn't even know he was in the running. They go to the state. They get all their information from the state, and that's how they make their choices at the elementary, middle, and high school level. So it says a lot about what is happening in Putnam County, the kind of teachers we have, the kind of administrators we have. And I have to tell you, a reporter from the Times-Union called me this week and said, St. Johns County is doing a penny sales tax to raise money for the school district. Is Putnam County's school board thinking of doing that? And I said, well, no, absolutely not. We don't have the growth that they're having. Certainly they need that money to build schools. And I said, but their teachers are probably a little bit spoiled. And our teachers work much harder. And I even said to her, I don't think that their teachers would last a week in our schools. Our teachers do so much more than academics in that classroom every single day with what they have to contribute to our students as far as clothes and as far as mentoring, as far as food, and all of those needs are met on a daily basis, and it's amazing to see what they do. So that's really all I have today, and thank you very much. And we have November 11th coming up is a holiday. I think on the 10th, if you're around, Interlochen Elementary School is doing a special program. They're one of several schools doing programs for our vets. And so if you have a minute to drop by, you may want to do that.
In the Crescent City.
And in Crescent City, all of it. Just check with our office, and we'll let you know all the different schools and the things that they're doing.
And don't forget
Also-
Veterans Day Parade in
and the
Palatka.
parade in Palatka,
so please don't
absolutely.
forget that.
And then on the 17th, Renee Huff, who is our Director of Career Tech, she is taking students from all 3 high schools to a special event at the Jaguars Stadium. They are going to do a behind-the-scenes look at job opportunities. You know, we see those people announcing the games and having the fun on TV, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes and a lot of opportunity for careers. And so our students are getting an opportunity to go for free and even get a free ticket to a game. So it's one of the many things that we do.
Great. I'd like to add about Mr. Bowling. Interesting, like this superintendent said, they didn't come to us or the students or anybody else. They went to DOE and they used test scores. So as much as we complain about test scores, the test scores at Interlochen High School showed a marked growth in reading and math scores.
And-
That's
and
why he
expenditures.
got the award.
And expenditures at the school that per person, they kind of balance it out, and it's an honor, it's a big honor.
It was only 6 schools out of thousands in the state of Florida. And go IHS Rams. I don't like football, but go Rams. Anybody else have any business to come before the board? There being none, we're adjourned, and don't forget to turn the sound back on your phones.